honey, you're getting a good ride tonight. Oh. Next time you're going to have to pay me. Yeah.
Laugh. Clown. What's the matter? Bad dream?
Yeah, 50-50.
You wanna fool around some more?
Oh, Jesus Christ, woman, I gotta take a piss.
No.
Hey, didn't you get enough ass banging last night? God damn it, my dick is still sore.
Oh, come on, I'm horny.
Oh.
Most guys like that quality in a girl.
Yeah, except you're acting like some kind of spastic mongoloid and pee. Fucking bitch. I'm gonna have to be taking your car today. See, I have some top secret clown business that supersedes any plans that you might have for this here vehicle.
What's that about clown business?
Do I stutter, bitch? What's the matter, kid? Don't you like clowns? Why? Don't we make you laugh? Aren't we fucking funny? You best come up with an answer, because I'm going to come back here and check on you and your mama. If you ain't got a reason why you hate clowns, I'm going to kill your whole fucking family. All right, now get your fucking ass out the car. Come on. Yeah. Shit. Oh, I think I'm going to get me some Tutti fucking Frutti.
Tutti fucking fruity, that sounds good.
Tutti fucking Frutti.
Shut up!
Tutti fucking Frutti. Tutti fucking Frutti.
Shut up!
Tutti fucking Frutti.
Listen, there is no fucking ice cream in your fucking future.
Delicious. I'm gonna tell you something, brother. You have got it made. Please.
Man, don't be fooled by the glamour. I got trouble. Don't get me started.
Well, what kind of trouble you got, man? You got hot and cold running pussy on tap.
Man, dealing with these greedy bitches ain't all it's cracked up to be. Oh, man, I got this.
Take one for me, too, man.
Yeah. Hey, listen. You got a nose like a vacuum cleaner. Don't do up all my cocaine.
Oh, brother, would I do that to you?
No. You my brother, and I love you.
All right, baby.
But I love my cocaine better. Fuck you.
Oh, man, that's some cold shit right there. Well, any port in a fucking storm.
Oh, we are what we are and in danger. And we are as we stand hand in hand. When a friend brings to light on a cold silver night, you can stare your fate right into his hand.
You're listening to The Final Note, live with Alex Vincent.
Concerns will be addressed, don't stress now, be peaceful. Let's take ourselves a moment to decide where this should lead to. When they can stand inside themselves and make them want to be you. Let's go on the fuck up, shit, so we can fucking take out. We need you to break through, true. And we need you even more with this ego that's betrayed through this issue. This business, this mischief, this hateful, spiteful me that knows how to...
All right, we're live. Hello. It's September 25th.
It is.
So we started the show tonight with some of our good friend Sid Haig's best work as Captain Spaulding. Really sad, upsetting news. Sid was it goes without saying, he's a legend in the horror world. and in the convention scene especially. I've been doing conventions since like 2003. I've appeared all over the country, even overseas, with Sid over 100 times, easy. And I have so many memories of what a good dude he was, and we're going to talk about him a bunch tonight.
He was approachable,
Oh, sure.
Yeah, he just was loud and it was just...
I mean, not only approachable,
Yeah.
but Sid, who always had a line, consistently always had a line at conventions. And we'd all be packed up, and he'd still have a line, and he'd stay there as late as he could, made sure that to meet everyone who wanted to meet him every weekend. Even when his health was becoming difficult, he would still get on these planes and go out and meet his fans. And I know how much he appreciated that, and I know in turn how much his fans loved and appreciated him.
So, what do you think happened like 2 weeks ago when they said he had an accident?
Well, he did have a fall. My understanding of it is that he had a fall, and he was in the hospital for it, and there were complications in the hospital. A good friend of his and a good friend of mine and a lot of people from the horror world, Joe Netter and Steve, are going to be on later on. They're going to give a call. We'll chat with them about it. I know that they both knew Sid very, very well. They might have more details specifically about what happened. I've heard a couple different stories, so I don't really want to say for sure when I don't exactly know for sure. I mean, I know over the past couple years, anyone who saw Sid at the conventions saw that his health was... I mean, he was 80 years old. He had lost a lot of weight. But he was a badass. I mean, he was a badass individual.
Yeah,
not just as a horror
70 when he
person.
made Devil's Rejects?
Yeah, something like that, I guess.
Wow.
2005, that was...
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a big loss. It's a massive loss for... all the horror fans that have gotten so used to seeing him at
it's
these
like
shows.
when Gunnar died.
Huh?
Gunnar Hansen.
Yeah. It's a tough one. When Joe calls in later, I'm going to talk about Sid a bunch because we had back in the beginning of doing these conventions, it was really quite the party. It was quite a scene, almost at every convention we did together, and we had a lot of fun stories and fun times with Sid, who would hold court at these parties and tell these incredible stories, with such drama and intensity and humor.
Yeah.
Not only did he have such great one-liners that could bust up a room instantly, but when he would get into these long stories, he just commanded everyone's attention so well. And it was just, I just remember so many nights sitting there drinking and getting stoned and listening to his stories. He was a great storyteller and he was a great listener too. I mean, I had a lot of times where it was just me and him talking, and he would always, really look you in the eyes and listen to everything you had to say. And he was a very deep, thoughtful person. He was very passionate about art and acting and individuality, and he would get into some deep conversations. Especially some of these parties when maybe there's a little more weed than alcohol and everything turns deep, and everyone gets real.
Dude, he's done 60 years of movies. 60 years of movies.
Yeah, it's wild.
It's a long, long time, man,
Yeah.
to be acting steadily.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to act steadily.
I know a lot of people like myself were disappointed that he wasn't really in 3 from Hell, and I expected him to be. I didn't even really know going into it how little he would be in it. I didn't know that the third person would be replaced.
But he's probably too sick.
Yeah, I mean it's not a surprise or difficult to understand why Rob was made to make that decision. And it's sad and it's unfortunate, and I know a lot of people that are very, very close to him that are having a hard time with it. So
yeah,
for the horror world and fans that I've met over the last 17 years of doing conventions, 90% of them, you guys, anyone probably listening now, have met Sid and have their own story about him. So we'll be on the air for a bit tonight, and if you want to call up with one of those stories, you're welcome to. The phone number is 973-354-2447. But besides that, we have some other things we want to chat about tonight, too. Tiffany Shepis is going to be on with us.
The lovely Tiffany Shepis.
Yep, absolutely. I'm sure she has some Sid stories as well. She did like 4 films with him. But, and who knows how many conventions like me.
Yeah.
But Tiffany's great. I've gotten to do a bunch of shows with her also. We're close in age, and she's done so much work,
Yeah.
Unbelievable resume of
Over
films.
100, right?
Yeah, like 142 on IMDb.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's pretty wild.
That's a lot of work, too. That's steady work again.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you notice the lack of...
She's a trauma girl.
Yeah, at one point, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
I almost feel like that is the how you pay your dues. In the late 80s, early 90s, that's how you paid your dues to get into horror.
Yeah.
Was you had to do a trauma film. You just had to.
Well, there's probably not a single established horror production group that she hasn't worked with. She's worked with, which I'm going to talk to her about also, which is just such a, I mean, as an actor, that's all you want to do is get work. So
yeah,
for 142
times
that producers put their faith in her to be in their film, that means a lot.
I've had like 4 times.
Yeah. I've had about that too, and they're all the same film.
Yeah,
they're all the same franchise. So we're gonna talk with her, and
you can always be the fat nerdy guy.
Yeah,
we'll switch.
We're both burnt. First of all, if you notice a lack of creepy inserts in
Sexual
conversation thus far, it's because Mikey Wells is not here tonight.
No, he's his ass decided that it was better to go get an award for best piercer or some shit.
Best of the Bay.
Yeah, best of the Bay.
Yep. So he's at an award show
Oh,
tonight.
good for you, buddy.
Probably all dolled up.
Yeah. Oh man, he's in a
if he
suit
dresses
with
up
no
like
socks.
he does to go out fishing on a boat,
right?
He's got.
He wears a
dressed up
3-piece suit to go fishing.
Got to be looking dapper this evening.
Man, what if he's in like Bermuda shorts and like fucking sunscreen?
The reverse is true.
Yeah.
Tried to make a statement, stumbles there in his PJs.
Right. Yeah.
His workout pants.
His workout pants and his beard. Whatever.
So that he's not here tonight, so it'll just be us chatting, and we're both kind of fried. We went out fishing on Monday.
Yeah. I'll try to fill in for him. I'll fill in for him. Fish. We
went out completely unprepared.
Oh, dude.
Me, you,
we
and
didn't
Jeremy.
go out
No, we were prepared.
We went out high.
And then I guess we got high and got on the boat and got all the way out there 40 minutes to our fishing spot and realized that we forgot
everything.
The tackle box. We forgot sunscreen.
Yeah.
We forgot just about everything we needed.
But hey.
But we still caught
We
fish.
caught like fucking 30 fish, though.
Yeah, we caught a bunch of trout.
Jeremy caught 3 at once.
Yeah. Yeah. He was sabiki rigging it.
Yeah, he sent out like a bunch
Catching,
of hooks. That was
bait
awesome.
fish. But yeah, it was fun. We're gonna have to go back and do it.
Yeah,
more prepared.
I realized
the sun can kill you out here real quick.
I realized just how much I miss it because we haven't done it in a while, man. We got busy.
Yeah.
And then we moved back out on Monday. I was like, man, I fucking love it out here, man. I love it.
I know,
out
it's
here.
beautiful.
It's being on that water, man. If you don't live in Florida or near a coast, you just don't understand. Like,
Yeah.
I spent my whole life hating living in Florida. And now as I'm getting older, I'm starting to realize the actual benefits of living here,
Sure, especially when you're not shoveling snow.
Yeah, well, I mean, I always thought it'd be better to fucking do that
Yeah, it's
than
not.
be in the sun.
Trust me, it's not.
Yeah. No, then I went
Sucks.
to Alaska for like a year. Fuck
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah. No, I'm all right. And you know what, man? I don't mind wearing shorts and Crocs all day. Yeah. That says something about me being a stoner, I guess.
Yeah,
but
I guess.
more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten used to the heat. Fall and spring, I loved in New Jersey, but summer is hot no matter where you are, it seems to me. And I've gotten used to the I gotten used to the humidity, so Plus, I bought a house now, so I guess I'm here for a while.
Yeah,
You
your
finally
house is beautiful.
Thanks, man. Joe finally came by and saw
Dude,
it for
his house is
about 10
amazing.
minutes.
It's like, it's not what I imagined.
No?
No, it's beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's really nice. I love your I love your island.
Yeah.
That marble island's
I know
beautiful.
that island has no business
your
being in
whole wall opens to the pool.
Yep.
That's beautiful, man. You're
Oh,
right
thanks.
on the water. You can step out and fish. You could fish on a float from your pool to the water.
I could.
Yeah, you could.
I haven't caught shit in there yet, though. There's
Well,
a lot of gators.
you gotta go
I
at
caught a
night.
turtle accidentally, which became a whole scene because of
With the
gator.
shotgun?
No, I caught a turtle accidentally, and as I was pulling it in, a gator started chasing it.
Oh, well,
And I
maybe you
had
could have
to-
caught a gator.
Yeah, it was pretty. I have caught a gator in the past, not here though. I accidentally
Yeah.
caught a gator at a lake in front of a bunch of like 10-year-olds, and I was fishing for like tilapia or something, and
Yeah.
a gator. And this is like the proudest moment of my life. I actually used my fishing pole to hold the gator's mouth shut.
Yeah.
And took the hook out of his face in front of these kids. They all looked at me like I was fucking Steve Irwin or something.
Yeah.
Like,
You're like, crikey!
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I used to catch alligators with my dad.
Really?
For real. For Saddlebrook. It's a golf course. And they had an overpopulation of alligators. So
Okay.
my dad and the game guy, and I was like 14, we used to go out in a boat, call the gators. They would come up to the boat, and this game warden dude would grab them by the mouth, because it's closed, and then pick him up and flip him in the boat, and I would put its legs behind its tail, like up around his back, and tape it.
Wow.
Yeah, dude, and then I have to sit on the tail. Then we take him to the truck. We catch like 10 a night. I did this for like 2 months. We must have caught 30 alligators.
Wow.
And then we go release them in the wild.
Like what size are we talking?
I think the biggest one we got was like 6 feet.
Yeah.
That's big. It's
That's
a whole
big,
truck
sure.
bed.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's awesome watching them and stuff.
I'm not afraid of them at all, man.
Neither am I.
I grew up in Florida.
Yeah, I mean, if it was like a 17-foot gator and I was alone with it, I would be afraid of. I'm afraid of them in their terrain. I wouldn't go swimming through that lake. I'll tell you that.
Oh yeah, I don't know. You know,
Yeah.
I know you hear horror stories about them. You know, the incident at Disney with the young kid, but they don't. There's not a lot of I got killed by an alligator stories.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't happen. They don't mess with humans, man.
No, they
Too
don't
big.
want anything to do with you.
No, they will go away. I mean, they might make some noise and front, but
Yeah.
they'd rather just sit in the sun all day.
The first couple days I had that house, the gators were coming by a lot, and I was throwing out cold cuts
Oh,
at them.
that's good.
But
That's-
people kept
that's,
telling me not to do that.
That's Lake
so I
Placid
stopped.
of you.
I know. That's exactly what I was thinking. I
Yeah.
wanted to be like Betty White. Like,
Yeah, you can suck my
leave my
dick.
fucking gator alone.
Yeah.
Or whatever the fuck she said.
This is she's my favorite line she's ever had is, "If I had a dick, this is where I'd tell you to suck it."
Yeah. I got into a debate about Betty White once.
She's hot. I'd fuck her.
that was not the basis
I'd
of
do her.
the conversation. But no, I was asking who out there in this world is the most universally beloved celebrity person out there. That's
Jodie
still
Foster.
alive. No. I auditioned for Jodie Foster. I actually have a funny story about.
You
Did
auditioned
you say
as a
Jodie
role
Foster?
for Jodie Foster?
Yeah. All right, I'll get to that. I'll tell you that
Like
in
you
a
were
second.
like, "Hi, I'm Jodie Foster."
No, it's worse than that. I'll tell you the story. But anyways, my suggestion was Paul McCartney. I don't know that there's anyone globally more beloved and appreciated and deserving of that title than Paul McCartney. And other people were arguing that it was Betty White instead. And
well,
I just don't
according to
agree.
our chat room, it's Keanu Reeves and Johnny Depp.
Well, I don't know.
Disagree.
Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks maybe.
is a good one.
DiCaprio. I think DiCaprio's revered.
But I'm talking globally. I
Yeah.
don't know that Tom Hanks is as popular globally as Paul McCartney is.
No.
You know.
But you're thinking Betty White.
I don't think that was not my argument. That was someone else's. I mean, I get that she's old and praised and
As
awesome.
fucked up as this sounds, I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to say Michael Jackson.
Still though, I think there's
Yeah,
too many
dude. There's
people
countries that idolize him.
that,
Countries.
Yeah, that's true, but he's
Weird
he's dead.
Taiwanese
He's
pedophile
dead,
countries.
though. He's dead, so that.
But
he's dead, so that takes him out of the conversation.
I
Anyway.
guess.
Yeah, I meant like still alive.
Yeah.
So the Jodie Foster story, I haven't thought about this in a long time, but
Johnny Depp.
now that you
Come
brought her up,
on.
I auditioned when I was a kid. I auditioned for a movie called Little Man Tate,
Yeah, great movie.
and Jodie Foster was in the auditioning room. She was directing that film,
Yeah.
and she was there for casting. I guess she had a pretty intimate role with this kid in the film.
That was
they're
1992.
together the whole movie. She wanted to really meet the person at the casting stage.
Yeah.
Something like that, probably. I was about 11 years old, something like that.
Yeah.
I was 11, so yeah, keep that in mind. I was 11 years old. I would go to the audition for Little Man Tate, and I think my mother and I have slightly different versions of this story, and hers is probably more accurate. But basically, what happened is I auditioned for Little Man Tate, and she asked me about Child's Play and about what it was like to, to be in one of those movies at a young age. And I mean, she started very young, and I guess she was curious if what my experience was with fame at an early age, or
Yeah.
even though she was far more famous than me. But I remember I told her a story. I basically made a fool out of myself, telling her an absurd child's lie. That was just so ridiculous.
Why'd you lie?
I have no fucking idea.
Were you nervous?
I guess I was very nervous. Right around, if it was 92, that makes sense, because when I was 10, 11, I was getting very nervous on auditions to begin with. But she asked me what it was like, and the true story that I was telling her was that I had signed someone's sneaker recently at a bowling alley. I was at a bowling alley. Someone recognized me. They said, "Can you sign my sneaker?" And I did. And that part of the story was true. For some reason, while I'm telling her the story, I thought it would be amusing or more interesting to tell her that I signed it with disappearing ink. And when I said that, I don't know why in the world I would say that, but I said that, and she looked at me and she was like, "Well, that wasn't very nice." And I was like, "Oh, shit," in my head. So I remember saying, "Oh, actually, it was disappearing but then reappearing ink." And she was like, "Okay." And in that moment, I noticed I'm not getting this role.
Yeah.
I made an absolute fool out of myself. I went downstairs, like, crying into my mother's car after the audition. Like, I lied to Jodie Foster, and she knew. I'm so so that's my memory of that. That's how I know Jodie Foster.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's stupid shit. Why do we do it?
I don't know. I was
Straight
11.
up, just make up a lie.
I've learned not to lie.
Yeah, that one time because you lied to Jodie Foster.
It was impactful. Trust me.
Yeah.
I guess I've told plenty of lies since, but I try not to, and I think Jodie has something to do with that. But yeah, I haven't thought of that in a while.
Camilla can use that against you now and be like, "Do I look like Jodie Foster?"
Yeah. Who am I, Jodie Foster?
Right, exactly.
I'm surprised my mother never said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not Jodie Foster, Alex.
Yeah. Oh, man, I want to make a T-shirt now with her face and it says, "I'm not Jodie Foster."
And lied.
They'll be available on...
I lied to Jodie Foster.
I lied to Jodie Foster. That's like... That needs to be the title of your biography.
Yeah.
Because it's set your whole life.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
That set me on a path of deviance
I lied to
and
Jodie
depravity.
Foster. And then it's like you crying with a picture of Jodie Foster in your hand.
Been a fuck up ever since.
Yeah. That's great.
That's funny.
Oh, man. Lesbian, you think?
I have no idea. Oh, she is. Isn't that I would know, thing?
What?
now I don't know.
I just asked a question. I don't know. You answered it and then
when you said that,
didn't believe yourself.
When you said that, it sounds like that's correct, but I don't know.
I don't know.
You said she's a lesbian, right?
I was a question.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, but maybe.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm just
Maybe.
curious. Like, if she is, why doesn't she like?
I think she is. I think she's openly gay. She's married to a woman, right? Yeah.
Thank you, Google.
Yeah, cool.
I mean, Carolee.
Well,
who's she married to? I mean, because we know Ellen DeGeneres is married to Portia de Grassi or whatever her name is.
Right. I don't know. We have our researcher here. She'll give us the answer.
You know, and they are open about it. Like, that's what I love about Neil Patrick Harris, man. He doesn't hide anything.
No.
He's dude, and he's
Well, he did for a long
I
time.
mean,
he was a womanizer on.
He was?
No.
Oh,
that-
on
the
How I Met
show.
Your Mother.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dude, you know what's funny, man? I think we talked about this, but I find it interesting that how many males do you think took cues? That whole challenge accepted? People say that shit still, right? Because that was his lines in the show. Like, challenge accepted. And he'd
yeah?
fucking straighten up his tie and go have sex with 9 women that night or whatever, right?
Yeah.
But how many men do you think took their cues from that character? Who
Only to find out later
yeah,
that he
that
was
a gay man
Yeah.
played the most macho man on television.
Sure.
How do you think? I mean, like, how would you feel about like, dude? I took all my cues from that guy.
I think they probably don't realize that they did.
You know?
But
I think it's interesting. I think it's says something about the transition of machismo.
yeah,
Yeah, I guess if we're getting.
I
into
get
that.
it. Yeah, I get.
You know what I mean?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, this week on
speaking of
sexuality,
TV shows, so TV shows. First of all, I'm beyond excited that and openly gay. That kind of segues into it also. But It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia comes back tonight.
How's that openly gay?
Because of how it ended last season, which was with Rob McElhenney doing a elaborate dance number where his character Mac was coming out of the closet to his father.
Oh yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah, there was nothing funny.
The new season's out. Have you seen it?
That's what I'm saying. It comes tonight. It starts tonight, the new season.
I thought it was already on Netflix.
No, that's season 13.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking
That's
about.
yeah.
That's
The wife
what
and I were
ends.
just watching that.
Well, you didn't get to the end, or you know what I was talking about.
No, I
because-
didn't. I didn't
yeah.
even know the other episode with the musical where they think they're black.
Oh, that's one of
I
my
hadn't even
favorites.
seen that episode.
The Gang Turns Black. I
Yeah.
absolutely love that episode.
Dude, I must have missed the whole season.
Oh, the songs in that are so fucking funny. I love that so much. Anyway, yeah, so it ended kind of powerfully with him coming out of the
Yeah,
closet.
they were always leading
There's
there.
nothing really funny at all about the last 5 minutes of last season.
Yeah.
In fact, with Danny DeVito's great acting and what Rob did with his physical transformation, the crazy shape he got in for this dance at the end, it was really kind of powerful.
You don't like Fat Mac?
So tonight, I loved Fat Mac,
Yeah.
and for him to go to Fat Mac to what he
Yeah,
became,
to
I mean,
Gay
he
Mac?
got in incredible shape
Yeah.
in 7 months. So he says,
Yeah. Hey, dude, I dropped 30 pounds.
"Yeah,
in
you're
like
doing
2
great
weeks.
with that. That's awesome."
Yeah,
I
I'm
got
very
to
happy.
start doing what you're doing. I got to start boxing Jeremy.
Easy. Yeah, dude, do it.
Yeah.
I get punched twice a night.
Okay.
If I'm out training with him,
How many
I will-
punches do you get in on him?
none. I
None?
can't reach him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got a He's like
So he's just toying with you, like dancing
no,
around, like.
no. He trains me, dude. He like shows me punches
Okay.
and
Yeah.
combinations. I mean, I gotta do exercises and shit. It's crazy,
Yeah.
but it's working. 30 pounds gone, bro.
So that starts tonight, which I'm so excited about, and South Park comes back tonight also, and a whole bunch of shows. I started watching this show called Prodigal Son,
Oh right, I haven't seen it.
which is interesting. Some of it was a little off for me. I'm real picky with shows. I compare them to the shows that I love so much, and that you really can't do that
can't.
because. Some of the shows that I love, I think is like the best writing ever on television, and then
Yeah, which is
everything
go.
else falls short.
Top
of
2
that.
favorite shows now. Go. I'll say it
Oz
with you.
and The Sopranos.
Breaking Bad.
Oz, Sopranos, 24, Dexter. Those were
Breaking Bad
6
in there
Feet
somewhere?
Under. No, I didn't.
Ozark.
No, I didn't watch either yet.
Oh.
Breaking Bad, I watched the first season, and it's kind of one of those shows that I've been saving, like The Office. I only watched The Office like starting 6 months ago.
Yeah,
Sometimes I save a show that I
dude,
know is really good.
I can have philosophical conversations about The Office.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I love
Yeah.
it.
I
do
sound
love
like
it.
a schoolgirl when I start talking to it with Leanne.
Really? See, that's me with It's Always Sunny. Like I could go to sleep to It's Always
Us
Sunny
too.
for years.
Us too, dude. We will
Um,
fucking laugh hysterically.
Yeah.
In the car, drive it, and we'll just say something from It's Always Sunny.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? Toe knife, and then we're just like, ah.
It's like I can't
Rum
wait
ham.
for those shows to come back tonight. That should be cool. And then the other big news, which I know,
Blue Bloods. This Kathy says she loves Blue Bloods. That's
okay.
that Tom Selleck show. They're like
there was
cops.
another show. I saved it. I didn't.
I don't remember.
Emergence that premiered last night. That looked interesting. It's about plane crash and there's some kid survivor with superpowers or something.
I don't
like
know.
That.
It's all superhero now.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's ridiculous.
Pretty much.
But The Boys was bad. Seen it?
We watched the first one, but I was distracted.
Oh, that's right.
I
Were
gotta
you
go
like
back
having
and watch
sex
it.
or something?
No, we were just, I don't know. I was watching sports on my phone or arguing
Gross.
stupid shit on Facebook.
Yeah.
Which I really, I do less and less of, and I know that there's a group of, a percentage of my friends and fans that are very sick of hearing me talk about it. But, you know, some of this political stuff, I get into debates which I try not to do, and when I do, I do try to stay respectful, even though I guess I'm a little condescending when I think I'm right, as so many of us are. But
yeah,
you know, we had a couple episodes where we kind of got into things and talked about the division in this country right now and how it's really nothing like we've lived through before. And yeah, today is a big news day on that front, as there's impeachment proceedings, an impeachment inquiry that is being voted on right now, which might even have the votes by now. This situation with this Ukraine phone call to the Ukraine president, where basically
I imagine it would be like a scene in that movie where as soon as it's over, like you follow the telephone cord to the guy in the room with the headphones, and that guy's like, "Oh fuck,
yeah,
this is it."
Well,
and then he like
it's tough. It's difficult to say
he's got
there's
his flip
any
phone, and he like texts Hillary, and he's like, "We got him." And then he breaks the phone in half.
With Teflon Don, nothing sticks to him. I mean, he does most of his worst behavior in plain sight.
Well,
and
I think that young girl with Asperger's will
through
kick his
it.
ass.
Yeah, and have him mocking her on Twitter, and
no.
Oh yeah, he said they had a clip of her talking at the UN, and he said something like, "She seems like a very happy young lady, with a promising future. So nice to see," or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, he was just mocking her. But yeah, the division is just going to be pushed further because everybody is planted in and sewn in their position. Either you feel like the Democrats are just completely unhinged and they want to stop at nothing to get him removed from office, which is, in a sense, absolutely true, because Trump gives them very good reason to every single day, as he just denigrates the office that he holds with zero loyalty to anyone above himself.
Let's make a wager.
Certainly not the Constitution.
Let's make a wager. Okay, I want to say two things. One, certain things I don't talk about. Politics and religion. I don't talk about them.
Right.
Because people
That's
don't
what
want to
everyone
hear.
says. Nobody wants to hear.
They want to hear my views on it.
Sure.
Right?
Nobody wants to hear anyone's views, really. Even though.
Second.
Yeah.
Do you think within 6 months I could get into and meet Trump within 6 months from today?
No.
Through Twitter and through just reaching out to him.
I mean, you would have to start a passionate ass-kissing campaign.
That's what I'll call it.
That's the only way you could do it, is if you started
It's my
raising money for him.
It's my PAC campaign.
Even then, there's so many people doing that already.
It's my PAC.
I don't know.
Passionate ass kissing.
What a waste of time that would be.
Why?
Because what would you get out of that?
All I'd want to do is be like, "Yo, Alex," right? When the news is there and shit, I'd just be like, "Bing," touch his shoulder.
Yeah.
Be like, "Did it."
I wouldn't be impressed.
I would be fucking impressed.
I wouldn't be. Anyways, I mean, I could get off on a rant and talk about Trump for an hour and a half, but I don't want to, and nobody here wants to hear that anyway. I get that. But today is a pretty historic day in the sense that if an impeachment inquiry is officially opened, it's only going to be the the third time in history that's happened.
Nixon.
I mean, Nixon, who resigned.
Donner, Blitzen.
Yeah, and then Clinton, obviously.
Clinton, Nixon, Donner, Blitzen.
No, and then what was it? Andrew Jackson, twice. He was.
He got impeached twice.
No, he was acquitted the first time, and I think found guilty the second time. Like 3 years apart.
I don't talk politics, man, because I don't know it.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting time. We'll see what happens. I think the Republicans are going to stand their ground. They don't want to lose power. They're going to defend everything that they can till the very end, and the Democrats are going to attack everything about this. And I mean, I saw the transcripts of what he said. It seems pretty obvious that he was enlisting the help of a foreign country to do investigating that would benefit. I mean, I have so many thoughts about it. I don't really want to get it.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Anyways, it was big news today, and we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, it's exciting. It's like watching a reality show.
It really is. It is a reality show.
He's an entertainer for sure.
Yeah.
Has he been bad for the country, though?
I mean, how many people in this country are not getting along since he became... For that reason alone, whether it was his doing or a result of this being the case.
Yeah.
No, I don't think there's no way it's good for the country. We're way worse in our ability to get along, to listen to each other, to agree with each other,
it's hostile.
To progress, to move forward.
I think it's hostile. I don't know. I got 2 kids. I got 3 kids in school, and I'll tell you what, there's no hostility with them. Everyone talks to everybody. All the parents talk. There's no, you know what I mean? No, it's all kinds of people, man. We all hang out front and have to sign the clipboard as we let our kids inside.
Well, sure. And we all have people on the other side of this political debate that we still get along with. But there's also more people unfriending family members, never talking to each other, blocking each other.
I did that shit years ago. It's nothing to do with
arguments
politics.
Escalating to huge personal insults and families falling apart. I mean, that's... I really don't think anyone on either side of the spectrum, even if you are a Trump supporter who does not blame Trump for this, you can't really ignore the fact that as a result of this presidency, things have gotten worse in our ability to move forward and get along with each other and make progress.
For sure.
And,
all right, moving on. Moving on. What are we talking about now?
Well, we're going to call Tiffany Shepis here in a minute and chat with her about her career, which is illustrious and filled with work, so much work, it's incredible. Admittedly, I have not seen most of her films, but I know her on a personal level. You know,
it's 140 films.
142 films. It would take quite a while to
even
work
if you
through her
saw
catalog.
10% of that, that's 14.
I'm curious what percentage of her films she's never seen. You know,
all of them probably.
Yeah, maybe. You know, when I was...
How many of your films have you seen? 4.
I've seen the Chucky movies.
Yeah.
And then outside of that, only 1 or 2, and I was in maybe another 6 or 7 or something like that. There's some movies that I would not see.
You have a hard time watching yourself?
Oh my God. If there's some movies that if I had an opportunity to watch right now, I absolutely would not. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, sure.
I enjoy it. I enjoy watching myself.
No, I don't.
Because I'm like, look at that stupid idiot say dumb words.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I look at it.
I guess I should take that approach.
Yeah, just like he's another fucking
there,
idiot.
Stupid idiot.
Yeah. You know, you're watching
nice line, you stupid idiot.
Yeah. Like, oh, I gotta look at this guy's fat face again.
Yeah. House Guest was tough for me to watch. There's moments of it that are okay. I mean, there's many reasons why that's tough for me to watch, but I'm still happy we did it. It was still fun. But I don't really get any pleasure out of anyone seeing that film, even when they tell me they like it. Sorry, Dawn. I know you love House Guest more than anyone, but it's, it was a learning experience type of project, is the best way I could put it. But anyways, we're going to talk about those type of films and a whole bunch of movies with Tiffany Shepis. Let's take a break. I'm going to give her a phone call and get her on the line. We're going to talk with Joe Netter later. Unfortunately, mostly we'll be talking about a sad subject in the loss of Sid Haig. But Joe is also a fascinating and hysterical guy. So the way I met him is a story in itself. So we'll get into that. But all right, we're going to take a little break, and we will be back with Tiffany Shepis right after this.
I got that train! Let it slip down my throat! Not just a video, but worse than simply losing control! Lift up my game! Where is the burn in my soul? Now it's broken, destroyed, and alone! patient with my own self-inflicted disease. Oh, and the way you treat me. It sounds a lot like It sounds a lot like
All right, we're back. That's the Bunny the Bear with Love Lies. They recorded that at my studio, AV Productions, about a year ago. They're going to be coming back and doing some more work soon also. So, on the line with us, I believe, is the lovely Tiffany Shepis.
Hey,
There you
I'm
are.
here. What's up?
What's up? It's great to talk to you. It's been a bit.
It has been a bit. I feel like we always cross paths at conventions briefly, and then you're somewhere that I'm not, and we've texted each other about the weird places that we've been.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, well, we both did a real interesting show. We'll talk about our show, but whatever you want to call it, haunted house. But yeah, I remember going back to the first time that we met. Before we ever met, I don't know. This might even been MySpace days, but we had like a chat, online. We both had known a lot of mutual people and in this horror world, and there was obviously eventually going to be a time we would meet at a convention, but we kept missing each other for like 2 years.
It was a long time, which
Yeah.
is super crazy because it seems like, and I think fans and friends always think like we all like know each other from like the beginning of time, and because all of our mutual friends and the fact that we're always like at conventions like a year after one another, I always felt like I knew you. So it was weird when we did connect like back on MySpace days that I was like, what the hell? Like, how have we not met yet?
Exactly. There was actually a ridiculous story. It shows sometimes in this horror community of fans how wrong some people get some information. But before we ever met, and when we had just talked online, I told you this story years ago, but some girl came up to me at a convention and said, "Oh, Tiffany Shepis says hi." And I said, "Oh, but that's odd that you're telling me that, but okay, thanks." And she goes, "Yeah, I heard you two had quite a time together."
What?
And I said, "What are you talking about?" I never actually even met her. And she refused to believe me. I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, all right, I see how it is, all right." She was insistent that we knew
weird.
each other
That's like-
much better than we did.
Well,
Yeah.
maybe that's like the fan version of like, fan fiction, like fan romances,
Right.
like the horror romances.
Yeah.
Like they really wanted my character from The Hazing to hook up with you, but as a little boy from Child's Play. Like very weird fan fiction.
Yeah. There are a couple scripts there, too, that we almost worked together also, which I hope does happen at some point, because I was thinking about, first of all, going over your incredible resume of films. 142 credits is something to be very, very proud of. I was saying...
I'm not sure of that.
It's
Proud
true.
of maybe
This is
20
why.
of them.
This is why. I was talking about this with Joe earlier, that,
Hi.
this is Joe Davison sitting
Hello.
with us.
Hi. I heard that you had to go to the restroom. Now you're back.
I've increased my consumption of water lately, so
Yeah, he's losing a bunch of weight.
Oh,
He's down
man.
30 pounds.
yeah.
Whoa, that's unbelievable. Congratulations.
Thank you. The doctor said do it or die, so I was like, well, all right.
But the thing...
Yeah, there's nothing like impending death to keep
Right,
your
Yeah,
ass in the
that
air.
jump starts a diet, usually.
Yeah. What's
Maybe-
that dark cloud following me?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what I need.
Yeah, I'm running away from that right now.
But no, the thing of it is, Tiff, though, and I was saying this to him earlier, as an actor, we really just want to get work. Getting hired is a thrilling feeling, and getting rejected, which is all too common, is not so great. And if nothing, you can say that there were producers on 142 projects that had faith in you and wanted to hire you for their film. I mean, that is something to be super proud of.
Well, thanks. I mean, and I certainly joke around a lot about them because in my head, I'm like, well, I'd rather have that one great one that everybody knows you for than, 140 smaller things. But
right.
I do thank you, and it is super cool that, I was able to grow up in the genre that I dug and continue to make movies, right? I mean, there's nothing to be mad at that with. I just joke because I'm like, man, like, you want the one that has the wider reach. You want the big franchise.
Sure.
So it's like I want to trade in all of like the small chips for the $100 chip.
Yeah, well, I get that, but you did have one incredible opportunity here, which is, I've been doing conventions for 17 years. We know the same group of 100 horror actors, and I've gotten to do conventions with all of them, which is super cool. But you've gotten to make movies with almost all of them, so that's got to feel great too.
That is really cool. And what's cool about it, and what's a bummer, is we haven't yet. So we have to solve that. Anyone who's listening is making a movie. Me and Alex Vincent could play whatever, brother and sister, buddy cop, right?
Right. I'll get on writing it, and we'll start there.
You hit it
What
up.
are you guys looking for? Hold on. What kind of movie you want?
Joe is prolific. He can pump out a script in about 45 minutes. So
Yeah.
Well, perfect. Well, according to that fan back in 1998, we had some weird romance that neither of us can remember.
So we might have to explore it on screen, I guess.
Okay, so
you have to tap into the Notebook.
Two friends who went to high school. I'm just making it up right now. You guys are friends in high school, right?
We're the same age, so that works.
All right. So you left this small town you used to live in because you both wanted better things, right?
Okay.
You both go off and become successful in your own right, and whatever those careers are. But unfortunately, both of you hit a very bad end to your careers and ended up failing horrible. So you decide to come back licking your wounds to this town, right, where you meet up again, and you guys just hate life so much, that you just
bond over
that.
On how bad it's gone for us?
Yeah.
All right. We're halfway there.
I mean, you can make it like a little fishing town.
Now.
Yeah.
Little fishing town, right, Alex? Then your character's like, I can get a fishing boat and I'll make money fishing. And she's like, no way, you're like a famous author. And you're like, but you're a lawyer or something. You know what I mean?
All right. Well, we'll have to work on that.
Yeah, no, this is perfect. I think you just don't pitch it anymore. Just write it.
Well, he has a problem with that. He gives away all his ideas on this show constantly.
It's just part of life.
Yeah.
But we've never worked together, and I have had like great opportunities to work with like people that I grew up being
which
scared
is
of,
awesome.
and which is super cool. And just getting to hang out with people, like all of our horror friends in the genre are, for the most part, I'd say 93% are pretty cool.
Absolutely.
The rest are dicks.
Sure.
But they're all just actors that love horror movies, and we all love the same thing. And it's like we get to screw off and talk shop at Shakopee, wherever the hell we're at, and whatever weird convention. And I think it's super cool.
We did a haunted house, each of us, on back-to-back weeks. And where was that? Alabama
How does
or
that
something
work?
like that. It's awkward.
Yeah, somewhere.
It's so awkward. I mean,
some
of them are awkward. Not all, but some.
Some of the haunts are a little awkward at times because you're sort of sat there like a prized hen or something.
Yeah, you're on
and people
display.
are coming by to look at you.
Yeah.
Which is really strange.
Especially when most of them aren't expecting anything like that at all. They're there for the haunted attraction, and so they're kind of like, "Who are you, and why are you here?" Like,
do I care about you?
Yeah, they don't know why you're there. They haven't seen any of your movies. It's always just strange. But we were there back-to-back weekends, which is really sad because I definitely could have used you there, and we could have gone to the haunt.
Yeah, if we did it together, that would have been more fun. Because sitting there as the only guest alone in a very dark area, swarming with bats and bugs, and it was pretty wild. And I'm actually doing something like this in like 10 days, so I got to get ready. But this is up in New Jersey. It's like a haunted farm thing in New Jersey.
Well, it's just the glamorous life of the horror actor.
Yeah, right? Well, speaking of people that you worked with in films, we'd be remiss not to mention the legend of our world in this horror community, who we lost over the weekend, and you got to work with Sid on a few projects, right?
No, Sid and I never worked together.
No? Okay.
No. There was a few projects that were slated to go. As a matter of fact, he may have been in something that one of us did a cameo in, like one of
right, where you worked separate days. Yeah.
Yeah, no one ever worked together. But what's so interesting about Sid is whether you worked with him or not, you got the same guy.
Yeah.
Like I spent, probably at least 100 convention weekends with that man, and you always got the same person, and he gave the same energy to everyone. And whether you were a fan or a producer or a co-star, it was that same guy. And like whether he was like saying like kind of crazy crass like lines from his movies, or talking about the dog that you brought in to see him, like he was always with this great smile and an infectious laugh, and he was like legitimately one of those people that I would light up when I'd see his name on a list.
Yeah.
With me.
Yeah.
And I have a really funny story about Sid. We were at a convention, 15 years ago, and we threw a party. It might have actually been in Joe Netter's room, who I think you said you just had on, right?
Yeah, Joe's gonna call up in a bit, and I was in a lot of those suites with Sid and Joe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So it was the big question was who was going to throw the party, and I was like, I'm not throwing the party in my room. So I was like, you throw it in your room. And so I think it somehow got combined, like 6 hotel rooms got turned into a big party. And
yeah.
I was like, I think we should have ice cream. And Sid was like, oh yeah, let's send somebody for ice cream. And Sid gave some fan like a couple $100 to go get ice cream.
Go get $100 ice cream.
Yeah, that sounds like
but what he didn't realize is that we all gave these guys money to get ice cream. So these fans came back, and I kid you not, with probably like 60 cartons of ice cream for a party that was only 20 people.
Yeah.
And
everyone got their own carton.
Oh my God. That's what Sid was like, now it's a real party, ice cream all around. And he like invited more people in, and it was just really charming. Just like, like the guy who plays like one of the scariest, craziest batshit characters like in our modern horror history was the biggest teddy bear,
Yeah,
and
he was. Yeah, he was. And then 2 hours later, you guys are in a room full of melting ice cream.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. Who's gonna clean this shit up?
Sounds like my prom night.
Yeah. Sid was an amazing dude, and whenever you had a minute like alone with him, I always appreciated how much eye contact he made and how intently he would listen, and he would get very deep too. He had a really deep. He was very passionate about art and acting and life, and if you got into a deep conversation with him, it was compelling. Everything he said seemed compelling.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's just a class act. I mean, and that's, I think that comes like, he was such a trained actor, which, I think anytime you work really hard at your craft and you get something out of it, and then he, kind of had like a little bit of a struggle here and there, was just doing character actor parts, and then getting this huge revival with Rob Zombie's movies.
Yeah, sure.
Like, he just seemed so, grateful for all the opportunity, and really excited to talk to other actors. Like, I think he was just like an actor's actor, it was like, absolutely. I want to talk to you about your craft. And like, I would talk shit like I do about my own movies, and he would constantly say stuff like, no, like, kind of like you did, Alex, thank you, but like doing like you should be proud of this. Like, you've worked at it a long time, and people came here to see you. You should be happy with all of them, you know?
What do you think of the title Scream Queen? What is that? How do you feel about that title?
I'm on the fence with it, because it's, when I was first titled, like, quote unquote, a Scream Queen, it was by another Scream Queen. It was by Jewel Shepard. Years ago, she wrote an article about, actors that were at Schiller's Theater, and she called me like the new Scream Queen on the block. And I was like, holy crap, that's amazing. And I really held it pretty dear to my heart for a long time, and I still do. the only issue I guess I'm having with the modern day is I guess there's just not as many actresses doing just strictly horror films. Like there was like in the 80s and 90s and even like the early 2000s when I was doing a bunch of them. So when you go to a convention and they're like, oh, we have this panel of Scream Queens, like it's awesome when it's people like Linnea Quigley and Brink Stevens and, Debbie Rochon and people like that. But now you're seeing a lot of people that have just not made a movie at all. It's like they're somebody who made a film, like one movie in Alabama in somebody's, backyard, and it never got released, or they just released it themselves on YouTube, and they're like, but I'm a Scream Queen.
Yeah.
So,
no, it's got to be saved for people like you who deserve it. I could say that about that title.
I mean,
for
I
sure.
want the title really badly, but I don't think I'll ever get it.
So I just think it's a little like diluted now, which potentially people like Linnea and Brink might have thought of me when I came off the scene. So I don't know, maybe this is just the circle, the evolution of Scream Queen. Like we're really excited about it, and then we're kind of pissed off, and who knows?
Yeah. You and I both did a thing in Chicago Horror Fest. We did a few years apart. And didn't you won like an award for Best Actor at that thing?
I think so.
I think you did. I think you did in 2008, and I did for this movie that I made in 2012. I don't really act much. I brought this film there, and this is nothing against those people. I guess it was just a bad weekend. I mean, you know me fairly well. I'm always pretty easy to get along with. In the 17 years of making appearances, I never left a convention or an appearance because I was unhappy with how I was treated, except for at this event.
Oh my God, what happened?
I don't remember everything. There was obviously probably there must have been a lot to bring me to that point where I actually left. The only thing I remember in particular is getting pissed that like I was there for 2 days and they didn't offer me a single thing to eat, like at all, like not even a thing of popcorn at this movie theater that we were at.
Weekend?
I was there all weekend. I got no per diem. I had no guarantee. I went there because they were showing the movie, which I was happy about, but he was like rude to me the whole time. And I just remember saying to the guy at one point, like, you didn't even offer me one piece of fucking popcorn. And I got really pissed, and I left. And I left on a Sunday morning. I was like, that's it, I got to leave. And then I left, and then someone told me that they gave me the award for Best Actor that Sunday night. And I wasn't there for it. And I one of the only two awards I've ever been given, and I wasn't there.
Yeah, well,
the award came with like a prime rib dinner as well.
Yeah, right.
That's a
I know. I
Jodie
should.
Foster
They were holding out to give me a feast,
See,
and I fucking.
That's another Jodie Foster moment for you.
Yeah, I guess I lied to Jodie Foster.
Well, congratulations. You're still a winner in my heart.
As are you, of course.
Thank you.
So,
the horror festivals are so kind to us, which is, really cool.
Of
course. Not that one, sadly for you.
No, but every other one has always been great.
Like, the fact that they even have, film festivals at them now, giving, people the opportunity to show their stuff that doesn't necessarily get like a wide release is really, really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I was so thankful that they brought me there to show this film that we worked on hard. Like, I am the guy must have really been really shitty to me for me to ever make that decision.
There must have been something, because you're super nice. Like,
yeah,
you're not,
I try to be.
Asshole.
Try to be.
Yeah,
Maybe you needed a Snickers.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. Maybe I was just having a bad weekend, which happens.
It does happen. Everybody's entitled to it. I mean, and I try to give people the benefit of the doubt at cons and stuff too. Now, like, I used to just be like, if you're unhappy, you should get out of here. I mean, you kind of never know. Like, bet you could have just got news his dog died, or anything could happen at a show that you have to give them the benefit of the doubt, at least for an hour. If you go back an hour later and they're still a dick, then you're out.
So, one little fanboy question, I guess. I was thinking when I was looking through all of these films that you've been in and all these projects, because I know that you are such a big fan of horror yourself, and you watch the newest things that come out, and I'm sure you've seen a lot over the last year that you loved. But I was curious, of your entire resume of films that you were in, is there one that stands out to you as the purest, scariest film that you were a part of?
Ooh, scariest?
Yep. Like, fits the genre the best, was the most effective at doing what it set out to do and scaring people.
You know, I don't know if I have like the outright batshit, oh my God, that kept me up scary movie, because most of mine like were in the day of a lot of camp.
Sure.
Like a lot of campy stuff.
Which could be effective.
Beautiful.
Yeah, that could be effective sometimes too.
Stuff.
Yeah.
It could be, absolutely. But The Violent Kind was really effective for a lot of people. People really thought that it unsettled people. It was weird just because it had very strange, like, spoiler alert, but like strange kind of surreal, almost alien-esque ending. And it was like a Sons of Anarchy horror flick.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really, really well done, and I like playing the bad guy, and I get to crawl around on ceilings and shit possessed. So I think it's pretty effective, The Violent Kind.
I got to go back and watch that one then, for sure.
Yeah, you should.
I will.
But then, like, you know, I did Victor Crowley, which is Hatchet 4.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yeah.
Oh, thanks. Like, not a scary movie particularly, like pretty gory and stuff like that. But it was one of the first films that I've ever done where it was a silly, campy, crazy splatter, you know, slasher flick, and people come up to me at every show and say my part made them cry.
Oh,
and
yeah.
to me, you're
That's
like,
awesome.
that's why we do this.
Of course,
Like,
that's such a compliment. Did you get to work
such
with
a
Q?
compliment.
Did you get to work with
I
Q
did.
on it?
Well, Q plays my baby daddy in that movie.
Okay, great.
So, yeah, we worked together pretty close. We're still really good friends. He's a
Yeah.
cool dude. And it was his first movie he ever made. And working with him on that, like when Adam Green called me and was like, you know, yeah, I want you to play the part. And I read it. And I was like, well, who's my baby's daddy? Who's the guy? And he's like, did you watch some Practical Jokers? And at the time, I hadn't. But so, of course, like I go and watch. I'm like, oh, my God, this guy's going to be hilarious. And even for him, being like a comedy guy, and then like our scenes are very serious and sad.
Sure.
Like you really want this couple to make it. Like you think that they are like the hero and heroine of this movie because the stuff is so charming. And then, spoiler, I drown, and so does my baby.
Yeah, Q's awesome. I got to meet him, and he invited me to a couple of the Impractical Joker live events, and we got to hang out. He's a great dude.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
So do you have any things coming up this October? I know that you're a mom and you have a whole other life outside of this, but do you have any conventions coming up this October?
I have New Jersey Horror Con,
Okay.
which is in 2 weeks.
We did that together like 2 years ago.
We did, and I host their film festival now, so it's me and Ming Chen from Comic Book Men.
Yep.
And
Oh,
she
yeah,
hosted-
Ming Chen. I know him
He's
very
awesome.
well, man.
Yep.
He's helped me out a lot
He's
on
great.
my films. Yeah.
Oh, cool. Yeah, he's awesome, and we basically just talk shit to each other the whole time.
Yeah,
in
he's
front of the
great,
audience.
man.
And our goal every year is to get like funnier and funnier like celebrity guests to give out the awards. So last year we had Richard Grieco the whole time, and he kept coming back and leaving, coming back and leaving. We're like, all right, why is Richard Grieco on the show? So we'll see who we get this year, and then like I've just got a bunch of new stuff coming out. Like December is a weird anthology that was made by 24 directors and all over the world, like not just the U.S. And we did this crazy segment that has been kind of plastered all over the internet. People are really loving ours. It's called All Sales Fatal, directed by Michael Verratti, and it's batshit crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we have that coming out, and a movie called Starlight, which was made by one half of the Butcher Brothers, which is the guys who did The Violent Kind.
Oh,
and
okay,
it's
great.
me and Scout Taylor Compton and a lot of young newcomers who are really, really, really great. And it's kind of a surreal possession movie.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad you're still staying so busy and still working hard at this. The fans love your commitment and loyalty to this genre, and
I love
you've been
it.
good to everybody. You know.
Oh, thank you. No, I love the genre, man. It's like it really is like going back and seeing family when you go to the shows, when you go to the film festivals, and that's what we do. I mean, the last two movies I saw, like we saw Midsommar and we saw It. Like we, besides the once in a while annoying kids films we have to see, it's all horror movies.
Yeah. Well, I hope that we get to do another show together soon, and we don't get stuck in one of those ruts of 2 years of missing each other again.
No, we need to make this happen.
Yeah, well, Joe's going to write a movie
everywhere.
for us.
Yeah.
Once Joe writes the screenplay, then we'll talk about doing that.
It's perfect. It has to just be like a romantic comedy, like a meet cute with a really terrible, horrific.
Yeah,
twist.
no, it's a Netflix series.
Yeah, okay. I got a few ideas too.
Yeah.
All right, we'll work it out.
Yeah,
We'll work on that.
You know, you become a fisherman, and there's drugs involved, and she's a lawyer.
We'll come up with something fun for you to read. And I promise it won't be the worst script you've ever been sent.
No, but
I
maybe.
promise it wouldn't be the worst script I've ever made.
All right, Tiffany,
There's
thanks
about
so much.
120 for you guys to choose from.
Yeah.
Thanks so much for coming on, and I hope I
you're
see you
awesome.
soon.
Thank
And
you.
everybody go check out lovely Tiffany Shepis at Tiffany Shepis on Twitter, and she's always busy. And
Instagram.
I'm glad you got good stuff coming up, and I'm always rooting for you. And,
Thank you so much for having me, you guys. This is super, super fun. Thanks to everybody who's listening. Happy Halloween. Go check out Alex Vincent at every convention in the world, and I will talk to you guys soon.
Thank you. You're the best.
You're beautiful. Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
And listen to my podcast, Casualty Friday, on the Fangoria Podcast Network.
Excellent.
There you go.
Casualty Friday?
Casualty Friday.
Yeah,
Fangoria
man.
Podcast
We'll have to
Network.
have Alex
I
Winston
feel
on
like
as a
we
guest
should be
of
on the
mine.
Fangoria podcast.
Yeah. So now I'll have to cross thing. You'll have to have me on.
Yeah.
We'll do
Yes,
like a cross thing.
100%.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Cross,
All right.
multiply.
All right, awesome. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. All right.
What a great girl, man.
Yeah, she's the best. She's the best. Appreciate her coming on. Appreciate you guys listening.
You're welcome.
That was fun. So, all right, we're going to talk to Joe Netter here, who's a good friend. He's been a good friend for as long as I've been doing conventions. And, we're going to chat with him. We'll take a short little break here. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'm going to play a song from Frankie and Rufus that was mixed here at AV Productions called Wild Eyes. We'll be back in just a sec.
Come one night, come one May, I'm all for the taking. Same old stage, same old floor, only a different time. Baby, I've been out of Montgomery. These wild eyes keep pulling for me. Take off that cast, your ankle's not broke. You missed that flood. Weeks I've been, it's autumn now. Bliss is on her way. Baby, I've been out of Montgomery. These wild eyes keep pulling for me. Keep on pulling, keep on pulling, keep on pulling me. Keep on pulling, keep on pulling, keep on pulling me. Baby, I've
That was Frankie and Rufus with Wild Eyes. You're listening to the cool jet. Sorry. I forgot where I was.
It's
all right, we're back.
Silky smooth in this
We're back.
clouded world we live in.
No word from Mikey Wells. We should call him and disrupt his...
No, he sent us a picture.
Yeah, we should disrupt
in
his...
Our group text.
Best of the Bay award show.
Yeah, it says Best of the Bay.
Let's see.
Critics pick. Best truly inclusive tattoo experience. That sounds like a very specific award to win. Best truly inclusive tattoo experience. What's an inclusive tattoo experience? Aren't they all? Like, if you get a tattoo, it's pretty inclusive. It's you and the
inclusive?
person. Yeah.
Or exclusive?
Inclusive.
Inclusive.
Not exclusive. Not like just you. It's inclusive.
I don't even know what that means.
It means not out-clusive.
Right.
It's inclusive.
I think we should call him and see if we could interrupt his acceptance speech.
Oh, man.
We should have sent someone to, like,
should've.
cover it.
Yeah.
A field reporter.
Carly, go.
Yeah. We need a field reporter.
It's got to be an Ybor. I imagine it's an Ybor somewhere.
Yeah. I'm live on the scene.
Yeah. We're here with Mikey Wells, just won an award.
He's up there going, thank you, everybody, for the award.
I'm going to have sex with it later.
Come, let me stick a hole in you.
Best of the Bay. Best of the gay.
Best of the Bay. At the studio, I record...
Yeah, it's so silly. All right, so next year, vote for us for Best Podcast. Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll talk to Joe Nader at 6:30.
What time is that our time?
I don't know. That's 9:30.
Oh, okay.
I'll just tell him to call whenever he's ready.
Yeah, that's probably the best.
Yeah.
You know, call in.
Yeah, call in. Anyone can call in, really. It's 973-354-2447. We never had... The only person who ever called was Mike Tyson that time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Good old JL.
Yeah, who just called up like, hi, this is Mike Tyson.
Was it Mike Tyson?
Wasn't it? I thought so.
I don't know who it was.
I think it was.
I don't know.
Hi, this is Mike Tyson.
He was probably
He
really
had no
high.
impression at all for it.
That's all right. At least he called in. He was trying
Yeah,
to
at least he
phone
called
us.
in. Anyone can call if you have something to say. I don't know.
I'm sorry. Hold on. This is coming in from our field reporter. What?
Oh, the awards party is 6 to 9. So we can call
he better
him
get his
now,
ass
huh?
here.
Let's
Tell
see
him
if
to
he's...
get his ass here.
Yeah, it's all right.
Get your ass here. You
Nah, he's not going to come here.
sexy.
He's not going to... It's all right.
You sexy.
He's got his
voiced
big shindig.
MFer.
Anyways, what else is going on, guys?
I'm not doing anything.
Did you see It 2 yet?
No, I didn't see the first one.
What?
Sorry.
Okay.
I've been making movies back to back.
Yeah. What's going on with Hank?
You know, it's waiting to pick up again.
All right.
And
you got something else down.
oh yeah,
coming on
man.
the line, too.
Yeah, dude. I'm just waiting on some paperwork, but looks like we'll be moving in production. You know, momentarily next
On
couple
another thing,
weeks.
yeah.
On
Yeah,
a
we've
big
got
on my
something
biggest film so far.
Yeah.
Yeah, my
All right.
biggest. So it's gonna be pretty cool. I don't want to say what it is just yet. I'll allude to it though.
Okay.
It's
not the 13th of something.
It isn't. Unfortunately not.
Unfortunately not
But
that,
I'm going to
yeah.
make that fucking happen.
yeah.
And these people are going to be like, I can't believe he is directing Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th.
They're
And
gonna be
all
like,
our fans of the
not-
show
yeah.
will be like, I knew it was going to happen because
Yeah,
I was there when
exactly.
it was created.
12 people will know what happened.
Yeah. Hey, those 12 people get a special gift at the premiere.
We're up to 630 subscribers. That's something.
Yeah,
after
that's
10
cool,
months.
man. Yeah. I mean, that's if they're all listening
Hey.
right now, that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening.
That would be
Yeah.
awesome. Sure. And
Yeah.
thank you anyone who's listening. Really.
Thanks
I mean,
to everyone.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
We're just bullshitting with not
Yeah,
much to
barely.
say. So.
With like barely a cohesive pattern at all.
Seriously, I think
So-
we're gonna start getting deeper. I want to start having
Yeah.
like deep sessions of
Yeah.
interesting introspective
Okay.
thought.
Really?
At the studio yesterday morning, I had my earliest session ever, which was at like 8 a.m.
Is that like a bowel movement?
No, my recording session,
Oh.
earliest recording session. at the studio, and it was a woman named Moon who was doing a spoken word meditation recording.
Yeah.
And she had a really like perfect voice for that. It was 8 a.m.
What was it?
She had an accent.
Do her voice.
What was her voice?
Yeah, do it.
Oh, I can't. I don't know the accent. It was like.
You heard it 1,000 times.
I gotta think of the copy.
Just
Hold
repeat
on. I
it.
have some of the copy.
Oh,
here.
just play it. Will she get mad? Who cares? She's not listening.
I mean, she's not listening.
She'll never know.
I'll play some of her. She wouldn't care. She was
Yeah.
awesome. Her name was Moon, and she does meditation and stuff.
She might be like,
I don't
"Don't
think
play
she's
my
been-
shit,
I don't think
bitch."
she's been pissed off in 10 years.
Wow.
Let's see.
I'm pissed off. I've been pissed off in like 10
I don't
minutes.
know if this is gonna play. Yeah. We might be the only ones who hear that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear her?
Today's practice will be focused on
Today's practice will be focused on
breathing, loving yourself. It was really kind of.
I often
honestly,
love myself.
Honestly, it was a little helpful for me.
There's nothing wrong with loving
that.
yourself.
The whole thing was kind of.
In fact,
pretty
it's freeing
interesting.
sometimes.
It's freeing.
Yeah.
It can be. Sure.
Gets rid of your headache.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I know you couldn't hear it. Anyway, yeah. So that was kind of intriguing, and there are things that, without getting too deep, when we first started doing this show, this is the 20th time that we've done this.
Congratulations.
We're just doing it for fun, really. I mean,
Yeah.
there's
we're not looking for sponsors.
No.
Any kind of vape company or
Yeah,
marijuana
I don't know
company.
I don't know if a vape company is the best way to go.
Well, yeah, I don't care. THC?
Yeah.
Oh, how about Pure Leaf? Pure Leaf?
Curaleaf.
Curaleaf.
We should get them to sponsor. What about
We
True
sh-
Leaf? I mean,
True Leaf, either
the
one.
studio is in the same complex as a dispensary called
Yeah.
True Leaf.
They
Maybe we
should just pump
try to
that
get them
shit in here.
to sponsor us.
Just
Yeah.
blow it right in the fucking
Yeah.
in the room. That'd be like a perfect time for
I think
me.
we got to try to get on like a streaming service first. I know I'm kind of slacking on that. I don't really know how to do it.
Let's get
I
on
know
the
I'm being
Fangoria
told how to
thing.
do it. But
Fairly, look up how we
I
get
still-
on the Fangoria podcast.
I still need help.
Thanks, Tiffany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
Dude,
were you just saying?
I don't know.
That's something about True Leaf sponsoring us because
I think it's
Well,
fair.
for anyone who is listening and you haven't subscribed, subscribe on YouTube. Go back and check out our other episodes. In the beginning, when we first started doing this,
it was bad.
Well, yeah, the technical side especially, and it's still bad, but
we had bands, which we haven't.
But we had
in a
bands,
while.
which was fun, and we haven't. We'll do that again.
Yeah.
But we had bands.
Oh,
We
wow.
also had topics. Like I was kind of trying to make a point a little
Yeah.
bit each show.
Yeah.
And I think Mikey discouraged me out of that because I don't know.
Who cares?
But I think
I
I'm
like
gonna
the free flow.
Yeah,
It's
I do
nice.
too. But
You
I
know,
kind of
you got
like having a
topics.
point.
You got a little list up there.
I don't know what it
You
was.
hit all
like
your cues.
my friends, maybe it's because we were a bunch of stoners in high school, but I remember, and we were into like Nas and hip hop and in the
Nas is
late
great.
'90s, and
Yep.
We would have these like getting real
Liam would love
sessions,
you.
pretty much, where we would just talk about life, like get in far depth of introspective thought and processing, and the universe around you,
Yeah.
and just trying to come to some sort of mutually agreed upon conclusions about existence.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating, and sometimes I think I would enjoy talking about issues that are a little more important than the casual conversation. And I think I was trying to do both at the beginning, which was maybe a little ambitious, since we don't really even know
You're
what
trying
this
to get cerebral
is yet.
and yeah.
But I
And
mean,
that's all right. There's nothing wrong
there are
with that.
fascinating things that we could be talking about.
Yeah.
That are not just politics or religion or
Like you talking
you
about
know,
like dimensions, aliens? What are you talking about?
talking about anything. Talking
String
about
theory.
ways of helping yourself through
difficult times.
Yeah, this
we can talk about acting.
road of life that we're on. You can talk about acting. Sure, you can talk about our inspirations and careers and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
we could talk about anything because it's our show and we can do
Yeah.
whatever the
Yeah.
fuck we want. It's like
Yeah. I wanna talk
that's,
about-
that's the good thing about having barely any listeners
Yeah.
is we have no one's demanding much of us.
Right. They're not like, yo, you guys
Yeah.
suck. So,
Yeah.
all right, I'm going to pick
Some
a
people might
You know what we
think
need to do, man? I used to play an improv game, right? Because
Yeah.
I came from improv background.
Yeah.
Years. 15 years on stage doing
That's
improv.
fun.
I got to open for Dave Chappelle. Did I ever tell you that?
No.
I opened for Dave Chappelle at USF Sundome. 30,000 people. We did an improv show
Really?
to open him up.
Wow.
Yeah,
Did you get to meet him?
Yeah, dude, we hung out with him.
Oh, that's great.
I also got to meet Bruce Campbell at USF Sundome. I opened up for him.
Really?
Yeah, improv has led me all over the place. Anyways.
I did know that was part of your background.
Yeah. Yeah, so, what was I talking about?
You were kind of following, like, Chris Farley's footsteps there for a
Well,
bit, I
my
think.
goal was by the time I was 25, I wanted to have 3 films and be on SNL.
Yeah.
Do you know where at 25 I had 3 films and I was at Second City in Chicago?
Yeah.
Dude, that's like...
That you did improv with Second City in Chicago?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I auditioned, I got in. I couldn't afford to live there,
Yeah.
you know, so I came back to Florida. But yeah, I was there for a time, man, and it was interesting.
I wanted to be on SNL too.
Yeah.
When I was a kid. Oh, I was obsessed with the show for one thing.
Me too.
I was also always kind of terrified of what the experience of being on that show would be like. Like, not that I ever thought it would be any kind of reality, nor did I pursue actually trying to get on that show. And probably my caution of doing that was even plays like scared me. I did a couple plays, like I was on and did like a Christmas Carol and a traveling thing as Tiny Tim, and I just had a small stupid thing in a play called Seven Brides for Seven Brothers.
Yep.
Where I walked back and forth across and some other play that my mother would remember that I can't right now. But plays always scared me. So as much as I loved the idea of doing a live sketch comedy show. I mean, I made a sketch comedy show when I was a kid.
That's how I started.
Yeah. Yeah, we called it Mad TV, and it was years before Mad TV was a thing.
Oh, man.
It was Mickey, Alex, and David.
That's
why it was Mad TV.
We had a show called The Sidewalk Cracks, and we shot it over the weekend and aired every Monday night on TCI Cable Channel 5. I did that for 5 years.
Yeah.
Dude, we did all kinds. It was public access. It was YouTube before YouTube. We were famous in Newport Richie to the point to where it was tough for us to go to, like, the store. We had a deal with MTV. I mean, dude, we were so close to signing this deal with MTV. And this guy who was the head of our sketch show took the call without us and fucked the whole deal up.
Yeah.
So we came into the meeting, and they'd already closed the deal and moved on. No idea what happened.
You've had such a tumultuous run of dealing with people in this industry.
Oh, my God, dude.
I mean, I've known you for a long time now, 10 years, and I've seen you have highs and lows of joy and letdown from this industry.
Sometimes the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first thing that we did together, which I guess most people don't know, is the music video that you put me in.
Oh, yeah.
Where you put me in Guy Liner.
Yeah.
And,
you read the comic book and shit?
Yeah. I was reading a comic book in black and white in Guy Liner.
Go to YouTube.
No, you don't have to.
Go to YouTube and look up Fantasy and Flesh, Dirty Black Halo. Do it now.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
It is pretty ridiculous.
The song is horrible. The video is bad.
This was the first bad thing you got me to agree to do. And then we were really close with this movie, Journey into Hell.
Oh, man, dude. We were so
where you
close.
had such a funny character for me. I was really
dude, we're still
going to
do it. We're still going to do it.
I was excited about that. I was like a short-statured mafioso kind of guy.
Yeah, gangster guy. Who
All right,
was
hold
a
on.
dickhead.
Joe's calling in. Let's see if I can get Joe on the line. All right, hold on. Hey, Joe, you should be there. Hold on one sec. I'm unprepared. I'll be there in
How are
3
you
seconds.
unprepared? We were ready.
I was ready. Hey, what's up, man?
I got Steve on the line with us, too.
Hey, Steve.
We're tuned up from our show.
Uncle Creepy, are you there? I don't hear him.
Oh, Steve, are you there?
Nope.
No, I hear no one.
Oh,
What's up?
Merge.
What's up, Joe?
I am merging.
Joe, this
Steve,
is...
are you there?
All right,
now you
there...
have merged.
Hello.
Because,
There you are.
hey, what's going on, Alex?
What's up, man?
We're a little high, we're a little stoned, we're a little drunk.
And
Welcome
we're about
to the
the
club.
same.
Yeah, welcome to the club.
We're doing the same thing in Florida.
I may have just did coke too, so just be prepared.
Steve, you lived down here a long time, didn't you?
I did. I lived in Florida for about 7 years.
Yeah.
And, Joe and I, sorry for being a little late. Joe and I were just doing our own show. And as we're playing the replay of his interview with us, we're actually, calling you to make sure that we can continue the celebration of this man's life. I mean, what an icon in every sense of the word. What an inspiration.
Hey, Steve, we're not on the air yet.
We're not on the air yet.
Yeah, you are.
Fuck.
Yeah, you are.
Oh, we are on the air.
Yeah, you are.
You see?
Yeah.
You see, Joe? Unlike you, I know what I'm doing, man.
The first time that I met either one of you, I met both of you. And it was that came out weird.
Yeah,
But I met both of you. I met both of you at the same time, and Joe, you were much bigger at the time, so it was kind of like a me and a mini me. Both of you were bigger, honestly. But I met Joe.
Yeah,
I met Joe sitting on a toilet, reading poetry and handing out brownies out of the toilet to whoever was in his poetry reading.
Where was this?
This was, where was, any idea, Joe? He might remember.
That was probably maybe a Cinema Wasteland.
Okay, maybe, yeah.
Because I had previously given copies of my books to Andrew Bernarski.
Oh, boy.
Who was going to just throw them away. But you ended up taking them.
Yeah.
He offered them, hey, does anybody want these, or I'm going to throw them away. See, I have a memory.
Yeah. Amazing you do, because we partied really fucking hard back then.
We were just talking about that, dude. Our room parties were the stuff of legends during the height of the convention scene.
Yeah, it sure was.
It was just absolutely. We had the only private hotel room parties that had a guest list. There would be people milling about, and I know you remember this. There'd be like 40, 50 people deep, just milling about outside the hotel room.
Yeah, waiting to get in, a chance to get in.
Open.
Not only do I remember, Steve, maybe you forgot. I know Joe hasn't forgotten that a party that Sid was at, as a matter of fact, I got bled on by someone. Someone tried pushing into the party, and one of these tough guys, this kid Lauren, came up and punched the dude right in the face, busted his nose open all over me. So at this horror convention, I get dragged into the room covered in blood all over my face.
But that's what
shirt.
Sweet.
That's what I love about you, Alex, though, is you just came in covered in blood, and we're like, okay, who's got the drink?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
And that's the way to do it, man, because it was such a different scene back then, man. Now it's become a sort of homogenized. But back in the day, dude, it was Carnival. We were a road family,
Do you guys remember that time we got the hooker and the three of us filled all three of her holes together, and we high-fived and we came on a face and threw Rice Krispies on it just to hear the snap, crackle, pop.
Of course. How could I forget?
Alex, well, let me say this about Alex. Alex is, number one, he's one of the coolest motherfuckers on the planet, okay?
Well, that's kind of you.
And, no, you are, dude. You absolutely are. And when Joe and I wrote that book that we wrote in 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah. It was first of all, to set it up, the cover of this poetry book was the two of them in bed with a blow-up doll, and the title of it was "Let's Just Agree to Be Gay."
Which we didn't realize was Rock and Shock's mascot. We stole it from the club.
Yeah, we stole it. I remember walking around the whole night holding that fucking blow-up skeleton by the neck, telling people, "We're gonna fuck this puppet tonight." How do you know why we stole the puppet?
Yeah.
Well,
we're gonna fuck this thing.
Once we were inside of it, technically it was a puppet.
Yeah. Well, you were controlling it. Yeah.
So when it came time for somebody to write a preface for the book, we went to Alex, and Alex wrote this wonderful preface that made us sound. Well, first of all, I got to kind of tell you, I don't think I've ever had the opportunity to tell you. I'm kind of way pissed at you for what you wrote, because it sounded far more intelligent than the rest of whatever else is in that book.
Well, because Alex is a real poet. He knows how to write poetry, and he's really fantastic. And anybody listening that hasn't purchased his books, which I'm sure are on Amazon, should do so immediately. It's really fantastic stuff.
Oh, thank you.
So here's this elaborate, well-spoken fucking preface, man, this introduction, who I think I actually know. One of the people who you had look at it before you sent it was Jennifer.
Oh, yeah?
Jenny Simonetti.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So
she's listening. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Jen. She'll be happy.
Hello.
I'm an idiot. Anyway. So,
hello, Jennifer.
Yes. So, fucking, here's this. You send us this preface, and we're looking at this, and Joe and I, like, sat there and looked at each other, and we're like, wow, this is so much better than anything else that's in this book.
We actually contemplated not having any poetry after yours.
I know,
just blank pages.
Like, how do we follow
No, I
this?
love some of the poems you have in there. It was poetry that drew me to you to begin with, remember? You were sitting on a toilet handing out brownies, reading your own poetry, because you had Zombie Bukkake, which was a big hit.
Yep, got me on the History Channel.
Yeah.
My favorite Zombie Bukkake quote in the world is when I introduced fucking Joe to George, and Joe handed him the Zombie Bukkake book, and I'm talking about George Romero, and George looks at the book, and he goes, Zombie Bukkake? I didn't even know zombies could come, man.
And I use that as a quote.
That's awesome. I think that preface beats
why
mine.
not?
Yeah.
You know, but listen, we're here to talk about the man of the hour, the man of the fucking century. Somebody,
and that is Donald Trump. I know you guys are going to vote for him again.
No.
One, fuck your mama. Two, fuck your sister. Three, fuck your grandma. Most of all, fuck you.
Blessed people who we never, ever thought we'd ever have the chance to meet, much less become personal friends with. And the reason why we were able to do that is because of Sid. Sid, for whatever reason, be it poor judgment, which it probably was, or just absolute love, Joe, Sid, and I fell crazy in love with each other.
Yeah. Well, that's why I wanted to have you guys on, because I know that, well, first of all, coming up at those convention parties together, you know, I was there kind of for the beginning of that friendship being formed between you guys.
Yeah.
And,
sure.
You know, we got to spend a lot of fun nights, not only where Sid was busting up the room with insane stories that were always so dramatically delivered and compelling, but he would also get very deep about life. We'd have like some real impactful conversations that stayed with me about you know, because he was older than everybody else in the room and very wise and had a lot of perspective on life, and art and what we had in common there. And I always found those nights where he was like holding court and you know, kind of preaching about life to us. You know, I always found that impactful on me, and I know it was on you guys as well, which was around the beginning of that friendship that you guys formed.
Yeah. If it wasn't for Sid, Joe and I don't exist. Okay, he deemed us cool enough to be there, and once we had his blessing, everything else just fell into place. You know, and here, and I know you could relate to this. Now, we were just talking about this on our show, Brainwaves, and when you spoke to Sid, when Sid was talking to you, you were the most important person in the fucking world. There was never him looking anywhere else. He would never break eye contact with you, and he would talk to you. And here is a guy that worked with everyone from fucking Lon Chaney to Rob Zombie. How lucky are we as artists, as whomever we are, as just people, to have that kind of input from somebody so seasoned who's literally seen and done it all. How could we possibly go wrong with someone like that in our corner? And the fact of the matter is, we didn't. And it's because of him and people like him that we didn't, that we persevered. I'm going through some shit right now. And Sid's last bit of advice to me happened about 3 weeks ago. Because, and this is just so perfect, Sid. That's why I'm telling the story. And I just realized I forgot to tell it on our own show, so I'm going to have to end with this. Sid's last bit of advice to me was, Steve, cross every line, take every chance, and always do what scares you the most.
Yeah.
And that is beautiful.
He was.
Because that's living, man.
He was full of great advice, and cared. He seemed to care about everyone he spoke with. And if he did have an opportunity to give someone advice that was something to take with them, he always took that opportunity, which is, pretty rare for anyone to give a shit. I mean, of course, he also joked around a whole bunch and would practical jokes and would play,
it reminds me.
I think of funny stories of him too. Like, I remember one he always told about how he was signing autographs all day, and one time he accidentally signed it Sid instead of Sid Haig. He said Sid. He looked at it and slipped it in the paper bag and handed it to the guy.
He just
He's like, it's still my autograph. He got 2 of them.
Yeah. Well, one time, Joe, we were just talking about this too. One time, what people don't know is there was a lot of times that we would have these group parties where they just wouldn't fucking end, okay? Yeah. And we would literally go from the room party back to the show the next day, okay?
Yeah.
And one time in particular, it was one of those circumstances, and we went right from the room. I think maybe Joe and I went back to our room to take a shower and try to achieve some measure of sobriety for like 35 seconds so we could function in public, right? But we went to the table. We were at Sid because they would always put us next to each other, which was even funnier, because we had no business being by Sid. We had no business being by the fucking door for that matter, And Sid was there, and he was fucked. And Joe, tell the story about the Sharps, because I feel like I've been talking. I know you're high as a kite, so you could probably tell it far funnier than I can.
Well, I don't know about funnier, but it was one of those nights because, we're all blessed to be able to have experienced that. There really are, Alex, and you're included in this, only a select few of us that really experienced those days, heyday of that.
I agree. And they did go incredibly late these nights. Like, we're still talking. Yeah. We'd be talking. It would be 3, then 4, then 5 a.m. But we're all enjoying the conversation and hanging out and drinking together so much that we just wouldn't go back to our rooms.
You didn't want it to end. And on this particular one, it was Monster Mania, which, if you remember the Monster Mania parties that had a suite by the elevator, double doors, 50 people would be waiting outside to wait to get in. But that night in particular, we ended up partying right until we went to the table. So Sid and I went down to the table, and it was, I'll say this too, it was the show where at the beginning of the show, before you had arrived, because your table was close to ours, Sid had them remove your 6-foot table and bring in a small cocktail table. As a practical joke, because he's like, give the kid the small table. And he spent about an hour trying to get people to bring in balloons to tape to the table. And he only did that to the people he really loved. He'd play these jokes. But that night, we were all, we were fucked up. And we wandered to the table at 10 a.m.
Hold on, I just got to picture that for people. I came back, and there was still a black cloth on a small, round, little two-top table with, like, all of my photos crammed in together, like, just stuck on this small table. And I was pissed. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? This is what I got to do? Yeah. All right, go ahead.
Sure. It was fantastic. And that was Sid. And he didn't do that to people he didn't like. So, that was Sid, just the youthful exuberance he would bestow upon people when he liked them. But that morning we went down at 10 a.m. and back then I had shared a table with Sid a lot. We'd have like a U-shaped thing. I'd get one, he'd get two, and I was sitting next to him. We were both just out of it, and he signed an autograph. And back then he had the paper bags. He'd slide it in and hand it out. And I was sitting there thinking, God, something seems weird. What is it? I'm trying to focus. And it happens again.
I remember what it is.
And then I realized his Sharpie is dead. He's signing these pictures and no ink is going on them. And he's handing them to the people in bags so they're not realizing. And I kind of said, Sid, I leaned over from him and said, Sid, you need another Sharpie. Here's one. The other one's dead. You've given out 2 to 3 autographs where nothing's on the picture.
Nothing on the picture at all.
Nothing. And he's like, and they don't notice because it's in a bag. And he's like, oh. He says, well, if they bring it back and say, hey, you didn't sign this, I'm going to ask them if they have a receipt.
Yeah.
Do you have a receipt?
Yeah, I can picture him saying that just like that, too.
And he was, he was really one of a kind. And I cherish those times because we all know the convention world shifted a little bit. They're still fun. But it's not like it was. We had camaraderie between us where we were family. We were all family. And Sid,
Carnival, man. It was fucking Carnival.
And
Sid was the one that was kind of...
Yeah, he was kind of the godfather of it and kind of anchored all of it.
Yeah, he was.
And honestly, it's not a coincidence that right around the time that he was kind of, maybe because he was getting older or just because of a lifestyle change for his health or whatever, that he stopped partying as hard as we were partying. And once that happened, we all the party slowed down. I think that had something to do with it.
It shifted.
Yeah.
And I think for Sid, here's what we need to do. We need to start partying again.
Yeah.
Amen.
Hardcore.
Yeah.
That's, and that's how we opened our show. I mean, listen, it's like we're devastated. Especially Joe and I. We're just absolutely devastated. But he would be so pissed off if he heard us crying.
Yeah.
So fucking annoyed by that.
He was besides being a compassionate and caring person, he was a proud guy, too. He was he was a badass. I mean, legitimately, backed it up with, the compassion and consideration for people around him that you actually need to be a badass and not a phony poser of a badass,
And here's
he was the real deal.
Yeah.
Here's a great fucking Sid story, and it really speaks to who he was as a person. He did a short with Adam Green in which he did voiceover as a jack-o'-lantern. The jack-o'-lantern, or one of Adam's shorts, was talking, and it was Sid Haig. And Sid could have fucking just recorded the dialogue and sent it to Adam. But instead, Sid showed up on set, and he did his lines with the actor. And when Adam said to him, you could have just recorded this, Sid said, no, I have to be there for the other actor.
Yeah.
And this is something he did not have to do. But that was Sid. A couple of days ago, we had a little memorial for him last night. And I got a phone call from somebody that wanted to ask me a question. And I left the memorial to go take that question. They're like, well, I don't even know Sid. Basically, they wanted me to write something for their site about Sid. And I was like, she's like, I know you don't know, I don't know him, and this is really far. But first of all, the simple fact that I left a memorial to go talk to you for 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it is, that's Sid. That's what he taught me.
Yeah.
He taught me how to treat people. He taught me how to be treated, and that's who he was. Sid was all about two things: having fun and doing the right fucking thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes the right thing was whittling a bowl out of a carrot so that we could get high because we were out of paper.
Sometimes that was the only thing.
I don't think dude, that's an amazing story too.
Yeah.
We had this fat sack of weed. And we could tell this story now because he's not here to kick our asses, and it don't matter anymore. We all know everyone gets high and got high and whatever. But we had this fat sack of weed, dude. I mean, it was filled, and we had no pipe, we had no papers, we had nothing, right? And so what does Sid do? He sits there with all we had was a bag of carrots.
Yeah, and
I shit you not, a bag of motherfucking carrots. And what does Sid do? He takes out a pocket knife and he whittles a bowl for everyone to smoke out of.
Yeah.
How in the fuck do you even know how to do that? First of all.
Yeah.
Like, is there like weed bowl whittling class that we're not privy to?
What, Alex? What? I mean, I haven't, because we were recording our show. We obviously weren't listening to your show, and I'm sure you've shared many stories.
Right.
But Steve and I would like to hear one. What is a big story you remember from Sid?
Yeah.
Just a moment that you just it touched you and you've never forgotten.
A couple come to mind. One of them was when we were at one of those parties, and Jonathan Breck drank the ashtray cup. Twice. I was pausing. Twice. And Sid was there to just bust him, and I mean, he was just killing us with the one-liner things he was saying about it in response to it. He drank the ashtray cup and got up, and it was a whole scene like, oh God, ran into the bathroom, and Sid's busting on him the whole time, and we're all cracking up. And finally, the room settles down, and not a minute and a half later, he did it again.
Yeah. That was the night about Sid. Tell him about snail races.
Yeah, that was the infamous snail race night. Oh man, I remember that. I forgot about Jonathan drinking the ashtray cup.
Twice. That's the thing about that story is he did it twice.
Yeah, that's the when the whole room finally settled down, it happened again.
Yeah.
Was that the same night that the little guy from I'm way too fucking buzzed to even remember his name. The little guy from Twin Peaks who talked backwards.
That was the night that Chris Rowe, we had a really, really annoying girl in the room.
Yeah. And he danced her out of the room.
And Chris Rowe danced with her over to the door and spun her out the door and then closed it.
Oh, yeah.
It
I forgot about that.
Magical.
It was. It was one of those things that
the beauty of
in a movie you wouldn't have believed it, and it happened.
No. And that was the thing about the time period we came with Sid, is there's so many moments that you wouldn't believe happened that just became commonplace because, listen, we live in a world right now where everything's kind of weird and fucked up, and let's be honest, Steve and I's whole demeanor doesn't necessarily work right now in this world.
Yeah.
And we have to be careful what we say. And back then it was just, Sid had it right. You know what? We're here once. Let's just have fun. Nobody's getting hurt. Let's just have a good time and make connections. And like the best comics, he's funny as fuck, but then he takes a moment to impart wisdom on you.
Exactly.
And things that make you think, and it makes you a better person.
Yeah. I pulled a little sample of audio from an interview. The audio kind of sucks, and I don't even know if you guys are going to hear it. It's a minute long. But it was one of those moments when Sid gave interviews. If anyone ever led him into an opportunity to drop some knowledge on the people listening, he would, because he was a great advice giver.
They say that life imitates art, okay? And in a way that's true because people are influenced by it in one way or another.
Can you guys hear that?
We can't hear it, but I'm guessing it's the Winston Churchill soundbite.
It's a minute longer. A minute longer when I'm playing.
Some things make you happy, some things make you sad, some things make you pissed off. It generates emotion, and that's what art's is all about. Any form of art. Whatever you believe your creator was, the biggest compliment and homage that you could pay to that creator is to be a creator of good and beneficial things yourself. Stay focused in the positive and follow your dream. No matter where it takes you, no matter how hard things become, if you're passionate about something, you stay with it and it will be yours and you will own it.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but that was...
And that was Sid's big thing. He always said, you know, it's one of the first things he said to me is, listen, if you love something and you have a dream, don't have a backup plan. Because if you set up a backup plan from the beginning, that will become your reality.
Yeah.
Yep.
You will always think about that. Just go for it.
Yeah, and he said something very similar to me, man. He said to me at one point, and it's the only reason I've been able to keep going, to be very honest with you. He said to me that the only limitations that could be placed on what I can accomplish are the ones that I put on myself. And that's so true, man, because if you say to yourself, I can't do this, then you're never going to do it. And when you sacrifice what you want for what you have to do, the only real sacrifice is exactly what you wanted to begin with. You know, you can't sacrifice what you want under any circumstances. You have to try to go for it. You have to try to get it. You have to try to make a fucking difference.
And that's what he did.
Different. Yeah.
And I know how much you guys both took that advice. I mean, Joe, when I met you, the fact that you got from where I met you to where you are now is a damn miracle.
It is Steve and I are both WGA writers.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fucking, it's nuts. And I mean, that was always, you know, I got into it as a goof. It was for fun and just kind of took everything as any positive thing that had happened was crazy because I'm a little boy from Eota, Minnesota that, you know, has a nice chance.
I was surprised they let you out of the house back then.
Well, you know, I had to have the helmet on for sure, but a lot of it is, again, it goes back to Sid. You know, there were so many projects Sid was involved with trying to get off the ground that he would try to put me and Steve in everything.
Yeah.
And he was always like, listen, here's the thing. And I mean, we told it on our show, but he got married, when he married Susie, the next morning, his honeymoon, he was up at 6 a.m. cooking weed fudge because Steve and I were going to come over and hang out. And you know, for me,
we spent his honeymoon with him, dude. How fucking unfathomable is that?
Doing weed fudge. And it's, you know, at least for me, personally, it was wonderful because I got to do a movie called Hanukkah, which should come out sometime eventually, where I play Sid's son. Yeah. And it's one of Sid's last movies. And for me, that was kind of, after we saw the first screening, he messaged me and said, listen, I'm very proud of you. And that was hard for me to hear because I'm not an actor. I can kill people. I can be an asshole, but I'm not an actor. I can't say words. And to have him care about that, and it is fitting for, I guess, me to play his son because, you know, from behind we look the same.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's
absolutely do. And on drunken nights, it was hard to tell sometimes.
And that happened. You know, that happened.
Through these parking lots smoking pot outside hotels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The same thing often happened between you and Ken Forey.
Yeah.
You were like, is that Ken Forey? Oh, no, that's Alex.
Alex and Ken Forey look exactly alike.
Oh,
you know,
spitting image. Yeah, for sure. The other story, you asked me to give you two stories about Sid. The other one was we showed up at the beginning of a convention, and we're outside, me, you, Sid, a couple other people, and a big bare ass gets slammed on the hotel glass window, and it's Andrew Bernarski who just showed up, mooning all of us, and then he battle rolled out of the front of the hotel and came up to us.
He put that bitch on the dog.
He came up to us and gave me like a WWE wrestling style chop to my chest. and his hand is about the size of my chest, you know, and and just a typical Bernarski. He and I have always kind of, I mean, this is even before social media and the political division turned our words into like super anger at each other because we couldn't be more different. But at the time, he kind of hadn't gotten completely carried away yet at this point, but he chopped me right in front of Sid, and Sid was like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" He was like, "This kid's half your size. Are you kidding me? What do you, and I kind of just, I'm not going to lie, I did kind of just take the chop. He barely moved me.
Yeah.
And I remember Sid brought that up like the next 6 times that I saw him. He's like, "How's your chest?" That fucking Bernarski,
Yeah.
Sid knew what we were dealing with, but
I remember that because he walked through that door and did a shoulder roll, stood up with a cigarette.
Yeah,
and,
in one fell swoop, and then sent some.
That was,
and then never mind.
Andrew, that's the thing with Bernarski. You never knew what Bernarski was going to show up to a show.
Yeah.
He was like the jack of 1,000 personalities. But it's funny when it comes to Joe and I, we knew Sid was really sick for quite a long time before it became public, and we got to a point and we had a conversation where we knew that Sid was going to be worried about us. How we're doing, what we're doing, if we could do anything at all. Because all Sid genuinely wanted to see was Joe and I and everyone around him succeed and do something, And Joe and I had a conversation that, we need to do something. We need to let this cat know that before he checked out, we were going to be okay, So Joe and I, we ended up doing this project, which we can't talk about, of course.
For a major studio.
For a major studio. Mm-hmm. And we sold this project, and that's how we got into the WGA. And we called Sid, it was last year, just to let him know that we were going to be okay. And he fucking cried,
Yeah.
Sweetest guy.
He really was.
Sweetest fucking guy.
Well,
I think he cried because at that moment he realized that that's the end of the world and humanity, that Steve and I got a studio deal. Well, I guess it's time to check out.
Yeah, I was just going to say. He knew the right time to leave.
Yeah, you want to talk about the most unlikely of situations is Joe and I being
before you guys destroy the world. Yeah. Well,
Joe and I have no business being even moderate successes. Not even a little bit,
Well,
but we're here. And we're here because of people like Sid. And that's why we're so thankful.
And what we can be thankful about also is that, the impact that he made, profoundly on the two of you, he made on thousands of people that he met over his lifetime. Yeah.
And
it was a long lifetime, filled with meeting people.
Effortlessly.
Yeah.
Dude, and he did so effortlessly. It was just him.
Yeah.
It was just fucking him.
From the conventions alone, he met like 30,000, 40,000 people a year for 20 years,
Sid had no idea how much of a fucking legend he was. When Sid deemed you cool enough to hang with, that was like akin to Bigfoot saying you were cool enough to know that he exists,
Yeah. I mean, because let's be honest, the three of us, the shit we got to experience is legendary to a certain extent. Fans would have never understood what it was like being in those rooms hanging out.
Yeah.
No, and you know what? And I'm sure you can relate to this, Alex, and I know you can, but it's like when Sid loved you, and he loved you, dude, he truly did. When he loved you, he would go out of his way to make all the difference in your life, and he did so sometimes with just a smile. That's all we need, because here's a cat that did everything, a cat who worked with everyone from fucking Lon Chaney to Rob Zombie, and he took the time to take an interest in me, you, Netter, thousands of people, more so us in the inner circle, you know. But he took that fucking interest, and what a gift that is for us, you know, to have known him like that. And I know, you know, Joe and I were talking, like, you, me, Alex, everybody, we knew a completely different side of Sid, a side that we only wish other people could have experienced. But then, and I know you get this, man, you got to say to yourself, you know what? Selfishly, I'm glad it was just a small circle that got to experience who this cat really was, you know?
Yeah.
Because that is the greatest gift at the end of the day we could ever come away with, you know? And I cannot tell you how grateful I am, and I know Joe is, and I know you are, for every fucking millisecond with this guy. Because it was literally like hanging with a goddamn legend. And it's sad that he's gone, but the only thing we can do as friends of his is keep the fucking ride going. And
Keep
just
the party
like Joe
going.
said, we gotta have fun, man. And that's at the end of the day all that matters. 'Cause we only get one shot here, like we know of, right? So fuck it, man. Let's pour the Captain and Cokes and have a good goddamn time.
Well, I hope that we get to do that together soon, because it's been far too long.
It really has.
So hopefully there's a convention soon that all of our paths cross again. I'm sure not this October, but I'm sure soon it will. I'm so proud of what you guys have been doing and how far you've come.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you.
And
we're just as proud of you, bro. Always.
Yeah, because it's absolutely insanity that Steve and I are living in L.A., making a living, being fucking weird.
It is. It is, honestly. You know?
Well, first of all, I don't know if you could exactly call it making a living.
Well,
we are paying our bills, and
in
we're
LA.
alive.
Yeah,
In L.A.,
Yeah.
that is a win.
it is.
I guess.
Plus,
And you're,
Sarah
you're
French
smoking amazing weed
still-
legally.
Yeah.
Yeah,
legal weed is fantastic.
of course.
Sarah French is still putting up with my shit, which is insanity.
Which is a miracle on its own. Yep.
Okay, first of all, let's back up right there. Who would have thought that Netter of all people would end up with the hottest chick out of all of us?
Well, we all know that that's the most insane thing ever, but it's
Well,
'cause, you know,
let's be honest. Alex Vincent is in a relationship with a fantastically wonderful and beautiful lady, too.
you're absolutely right.
And I've had a chance to meet her a few times and hang out with her, and she's absolutely wonderful.
Well, thanks.
And Sarah does not have a gag reflex.
Yeah.
And I'm very excited by that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the length I can go in the throat, not the smell.
Well, you know, it's kind of a miracle that, you know, she could swallow your cock and not puke on it at the same time. That's cosmic justice, dude.
Well,
You know
but
what?
the puking is, I kind of like the puking thing, so I've been disappointed in
and
that.
right away, we're illustrating exactly why we had to pull our book from the market.
Yeah. All right. So we'll pick up on that conversation when I come on your show in a week.
Yeah.
Totally.
Definitely. No, we're straight. We just talk about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ.
Yes, you know.
And
Guys,
you know?
plug your podcast so everyone can find it and listen, because I know how fantastically entertaining the two of you are.
Thank you, man. It's Brainwaves Horror and Paranormal, and we're on Spreaker now. We had a little bit of a change. We used to do a live radio show, and then shit hit the fan, as it always does eventually. So we went to more of a podcast thing until Joe and I can figure out how to get back on the air live, because honestly, we're idiots.
Well, you know, I guess the thing that perfectly, you know, states that is the fact that when we did our Christmas show, we were sponsored in order for me to shit on the air.
Yeah, Squatty Potty. You know what's funny? I had to. Here's a conversation I had with my station manager at the time. Like, hey, man, do you mind kind of if Joe shits on the air?
Oh, my God.
And that's what brainwaves is.
How far
really
you've
hard.
come, indeed, Joe. I couldn't be more
Well,
proud.
here's the thing, I haven't really changed a whole lot.
Yeah.
Good.
Neither of us have.
I wouldn't like it if you did. So.
I mean, you augment yourself when you have learning experiences, but overall, you are who you are. The worst thing about that is our guest that night was in a deep conversation about how his grandma died and how it impacted him, and we had to interrupt it to go to me finally shitting.
Oh my God.
Yeah. You know what's funny? The guest was playing along so fucking well because at that moment when Joe, because the whole show was predicated on Joe taking his shit. Before we went on, it was Squatty Potty that was sponsoring us. So before we went on the air, I took Joe to the Mexican restaurant and I just filled him like a fucking gas station attendant with every conceivable shittable food you can imagine.
So this was this was a full blown event.
Oh, this is like the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It was our Christmas show. It was our Christmas show.
It's the Super
Joe's
Bowl.
sitting there. Every time I heard a noise, I had to look at Joe and like, "You ready? Are you ready? Is this it?" It was like waiting for a baby, right?
Okay.
And all of a sudden, it came during mid-interview, and the guest was like, "I am so proud to be a part of this moment." And and Joe runs to the bathroom, and Sarah has to help him because she has to hold the phone while he's in there, while he's shitting, right? You want to talk about a trooper, poor Sarah, right? And he puts his legs up on the Squatty Potty, and the noise that came from his bowels is legendary.
Did you get it on mic?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Oh, good.
The whole thing is there, and all of a sudden Joe just starts screaming, "Creepy! It
Well,
works! It fucking works!"
Joe, I met you 17 years ago while you were sitting on a toilet, so I'm glad to see that life doesn't change that much,
No,
Not much.
See, that's why I brought that up, because that's the perfect way to bookend this thing. Is once a shitter, always a shitter.
Yep. There you go.
All right, guys. Thank you so
There
much
you
for
go.
calling in. I'm going to have you back on soon when we can chat about a bunch of other bullshit. But I'll be on with
Absolutely,
you guys
man.
next week.
Thank you, Alex.
And yeah, guys, take care of yourselves. I'll be out in LA soon enough. And otherwise, if you come to Florida, let me know.
And just to let you know, just to reiterate, dude, Sid loved you.
Oh, thanks.
And
man.
he would be so fucking proud of everything you're doing, from the radio show to acting again to everything. He would be fucking ecstatic, and he would be really happy, and then he would torture you about Andrew Bernowski hitting you in the chest.
Yeah.
Just to let you know.
In the 100+ conventions that I did with him, there wasn't one, especially after those days of those parties, there wasn't one where one of us didn't seek out the other to, make sure that we said hello to each other at least and had a minute to talk. And I know the last time that maybe the second to last time I saw him was at one of those conventions where they have a really fancy restaurant attached, and he was sitting there with a group and had already eaten, and I got in and I was eating, and there was a moment in the dinner where I wanted to get up out of my chair and walk over to him and pay my respects, basically, is how it felt, like the Godfather sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was a godfather to a lot of us at the beginning of this crazy journey of traveling all over the world, meeting people. So yeah, I'll always remember those good times, and I'm so happy that you guys were part of it, sharing it, and experiencing it, because without having been in those rooms, you can't really imagine how satisfying those evenings were.
Yeah.
And you know what? Think of it this way. Right now, this conversation, this entire show, wouldn't be happening if it wasn't for Sid.
Sure.
And God bless him for that. And how lucky are we, right?
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for calling in. I'm going to talk to you soon, and let's hang. Let's party.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon.
All right,
Thank
guys.
you,
All
Alex. Good luck with the show, man. Keep
Thanks,
kicking
man.
ass, brother.
See you guys.
Have a good
All
night.
right.
That's cool.
All right. Sorry, Joe. I know you weren't much of that conversation, but
Oh,
we
yeah,
had a lot of
man.
catching
I
up to do.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they remember me.
Well, we'll get into that next time.
Yeah.
And I would say that you and Joe Netter would really like each other. So I think
I've met him before.
Yeah, yeah.
And I know Uncle Creepy.
Yeah,
I
of
know
course,
him from
yeah.
Spooky.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't talked to
They
them
didn't.
in
They
years,
probably didn't
man.
know. Yeah, at the moment.
I mean, they don't care.
All right, guys. Well, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. I think we're gonna go. We'll be back next week. I think the rest of October we're not gonna be here because I've got a lot going on. Joe's got a lot going on, but we do have one more show while we're live, and I think Mark Patton is gonna be our guest next week from Nightmare on Elm Street. And hopefully we'll have a band. That would be cool if we could maybe work that out. We'll work on that in the next week or something. And yeah, the creep will be back as well, I think. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you for listening tonight. And it was really, I enjoyed, first of all, talking to Tiffany Shepis, of course, but catching up and reminiscing about the good times about Sid Haig, who will always be missed by us that knew him and by those in the horror world that loved his work. So thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week, and I'm going to play a song that I've already played a couple times, but I love it. It's by Ronnie D., a local artist. It's called Precious Times, and this is the final note. Thanks for listening.
1. Fuck your mama. 2. Fuck your sister. 3. Fuck your grandma. Most of all, fuck you.
I'm singing this for my babies. These troubled times won't last too long, so I'm gonna sing to you the sweetest song, to ease your mind, leave your worries behind, 'cause these are precious times, precious times. There's times in our lives when living gets rough, so I'm gonna show you, baby, how to stay tough, tough, by sticking together. Thank God you are mine, 'cause these are precious times, precious times. Now listen. Trouble, it's just trouble, baby. It is what it is. Look around, you'll be humble, baby. It just don't get better than this. These troubled times won't last too long, so I'm gonna sing to you the sweetest song to ease your mind, leave your worries behind, 'cause these are precious times, precious times. Come on, son. Trouble, it's just trouble, baby. It is what it is. Look around, you'll be humble, baby. It just don't get better than this. better than this. No, 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 no. These troubled times won't last too long. 'Cause I am gonna say to you, the sweetest song to ease your mind. Leave your worries behind to the ease of precious times. Precious times. Precious times. Precious times. Precious times. Precious times. Precious times.
This has been The Final Note. Tune in next Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time.